Welcome back to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. My name is Jack. I am the resident game designer of the panel, and also your interviewer for this episode's exit interview. Now, before we go into said exit interview, I just have a couple quick things to tell you about. If you like this type of exit interview content, maybe you're a big fan of Survivor or Big Brother, maybe one-off shows like Destination X or the Snake or Morio thing, you can find our recaps, coverage, and exit interviews for all of that right here. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button below. In addition, if you like any of drag, maybe some WWE or some Eurovision content, all of our channels for that can be found in the link tree below. So please consider following us on there. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers across all of those channels because when we do that, we can give y'all even more amazing content. So please help us complete our mission. You can also feel free to get our lovely cup merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below, along with our link to our audio podcast where you can listen to us on the go. But I mean, I know you're not here for me today. What you're here for is our interview with the lovely Boot this episode, who went out in the most unconventional and twisted way possible, getting deceived and flipping a death tarot card. Without further ado, let's go on to our exit interview of Allie Bross. And here we are with Allie. It is horrible to see you here, but
I
you're here.
know. It had to come eventually, right?
You can't ride the Destination Xbox forever. It has to end, even if today you didn't.
It
But
does have to end.
so just as a start, how do you feel watching the episode through, watching yourself on TV, all that?
I thought it was a phenomenal episode. I thought that it was really well done. I thought it was very cohesive. I thought that it included a ton of strategy. I thought it included a lot of twists. I wasn't expecting to see some things. So yeah, overall, great episode. I hope that it was received really well. I thought it was an amazing episode.
I mean, on my end, I loved it. It was very different from everything else we've seen this season, so I'm
Yeah.
never going to complain about that. But
hmm
I mean, what an episode to go out on, though.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful place. I got to leave with the plague doctor. That's the most important thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, just leaving with a masked man. That'll
Yeah,
do some
some
amazing.
guy. It'll be fine.
So, rewinding all the way back, what made you decide to do this particular show?
I had applied for Survivor when I was 21. And COVID happened and casting got shut down. And then when Destination X came around, the same casting girl, Heidi Hill, reached out to me and she said, "Hey, there's this show. I think you'd be great for it. Like, I would like you to send me some things, blah, 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 blah." And then the rest was history. Yeah. I had been to all seven continents and like at the time, like 30 something countries. So I felt pretty well fitted for it, but I had not been to a lot of Europe, only a very few cities. So my travel experience didn't help me as much as I thought it would.
I was gonna say, just like as a travel influencer, did you have an advantage with that, or was it like, oh, and I didn't go here, so that doesn't help as much?
It didn't help very much. I've been to extensive portions of Asia and Africa, and I went to Antarctica, and yeah, Australia, but I have not done much of Europe. So I have actually never been to any of the locations that we went to outside of Rome. So that did not help me very much. I think my competitors who had been to all of those places had a huge advantage over me for sure.
Well, one of those competitors in particular throughout this entire season that you really had a bond with was Shane. It
Hmm.
really seemed like it developed out of like a beautiful stretch through Paris and then through the back half of the season. You even had a room up in Moosham Castle just together and were able to experience night. So, where is that at now?
Shane and I are not together. We broke up 2 months after the show. I just told him that I needed a partner that I could see more. He has a very stable job in Indiana, and I travel all the time. So when on the show, I knew he was a model. I assumed that he would have more free time to travel, but I didn't realize he also had another job. So it really just came down to that. And I was going through a lot of self-realization too at the time. And I feel like me being alone and figuring those things out was most important. And him and I are really good friends. I'm going to see him soon. I have an unread text from him right now. We talk to each other every other day. He's like one of my biggest supporters. No regrets there at all. He's a great guy.
Yeah, it seemed like you two had a really amazing relationship, and it was genuinely like so nice to see on the show. Like I
Oh,
normally am not like a showman's person, but I was like, yeah, no, this is good. I'm okay with this one.
good. I'm glad to hear some positive feedback about it. I think a lot of people are so over the showman's thing, but like I think that you really have to put into perspective the close proximity. Like you get to know someone so quickly. Like you really do care about these people a lot. Like this is family now. So I think once you really experience that, it makes so much sense that of course there's showmances on every show, you know?
And especially in such a close quarters, it was bound to happen with something.
Yeah, for sure.
So overall throughout the season, the game kind of like split once some people dropped out to like the reality TV vets of Peter and Janae versus kind of the newbies, but almost more specifically, kind of like you and Shane on one side and everyone else just kind of like threading the bridge between. Was that your goal, or did that just kind of like happen?
So, in the beginning, when Shane and I first started our relationship, he was working with Biggie, and that was our plan all along. And I was working with Ty. So, Ty and Biggie would kind of pretend like they didn't fuck with the showmans. They would tell everyone, like, we don't trust it, we don't like it, so that they could get information from Rick and Mac and Rachel. And it was working for a while. And then the new people came on the bus, and it was like, oh, wait, now we're going to have to prioritize sticking together rather than pretending like you guys are upset with the showmance. And I think that towards the end of the show, Rick really wanted the showmance gone, and I think he really got into everyone else's heads. Specifically Biggie, as you could see in last night's episode. I think that Rick is a very cunning and smart person, and I think to make the showmance seem extremely threatening was a good idea. And Biggie bought it. I was surprised to see that, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game. Biggie and I are close friends. I'm going to see him soon. I'm visiting everybody. And yeah, so it is what it is, right? But there wasn't like a plan to alienate ourselves outside of the beginning when we wanted everyone to think that Ty and Biggie didn't trust us so that they could get information.
That that makes sense. It just kind of like seemed like that's how it happened with the shows.
Yeah, it
That
wasn't really included, but that's reality TV, right?
you can't get everything, otherwise it's like 2 hour long episodes and like
Yeah.
here's how it works. So this particular episode is very notably different from almost every other episode of the show where there's no map room, there's no uh attempting to determine where you are. So looking at that, at least at the head, when Jeffrey told you it, what were you thinking in terms of like how you were going to approach this?
Approach the whole episode or approach the challenge?
Approach the episode as a whole, just knowing like there isn't a map room. We don't just figure out where we are. We have to figure out some other way to not go home.
I think that the entire game, I was playing a very social game. I did have some strengths in recognizing some clues, obviously. I think I've won second most challenges behind Rick. Um, but I think going into Venice, we really had no expectation. We were being brought to Aperol Spritz time and we were getting to eat ice cream. And it was kind of like, okay, this is too good to be true. A ball has to be dropping soon. But there wasn't really a way to prepare strategy because you really didn't know what was going to be going on. So I think I was just going to stick to my same gig of I'm going to be loyal to my alliance of Shane and Biggie to my detriment. I guess I shouldn't have been. I could have made a big move and I guess gone after Biggie, but at the time it seemed like the best idea to try to get Rick or Peter out. I thought Biggie, Shane, and I had a pretty good understanding that if we made it to the final three, it was one for all, or all for one, whatever. You know the sayings. That we would
Yeah.
be going individually for ourselves. And so yeah, that was pretty shocking, but I wouldn't have changed anything. I wouldn't have betrayed Biggie when I told him that I wouldn't have. So I think in the future, if I play more games, I'll be a lot more manipulative, a lot more cutthroat. I feel like I played more cutthroat in the beginning, but towards the end, I really cared about Biggie and Shane, and I wanted to be in the final three with them. So being cutthroat in the beginning, helping to get Jonah out, trying to get Mac out, doing all that sort of thing, that's the kind of game I'll continue to play for a full episode, probably next time, rather than letting emotions get in the way and being like, I love Biggie and Shane. I want it to be us three in the end, but it's fine.
I mean, you never know exactly how you're going to come into a game. Like I so many times have been like, yeah, I'm gonna be this like genius cutthroat mastermind, and then I'm crying in a corner 2 minutes later. Like it doesn't work. But
Yeah,
like, especially just having that first experience is always gonna make it tip over to be like, okay, now I know how to play this. Now I know how I live on
yeah.
camera, all this. So with that dagger distribution, everyone ends up getting three daggers. You are the first person to place down, you're the first person to essentially draw blood. Did you have what was your strategy looking at that? Just going, oh, great. So I have to fully set the tone.
Yeah, I thought that Biggie, Shane, and I had it in the bag. I felt like if all three of us put all of our daggers on Rick and Peter, that they would be the two going to the Garden of Lost Souls. It didn't really cross my mind that one of them would switch up. It doesn't really make strategic sense to me, and I don't really know where that came from. I'll have to talk to Biggie when I see him next week. But I think if Biggie had stuck to putting his uh daggers on Peter and Rick, then Biggie, Shane, and I's plan of being in the final three would have worked. So yeah, I mean, definitely hard to see that that was the reason I went home. Um, but that's fine. I mean, I was the first one, so I did what I said I was gonna do, and I didn't really have much say in anything else. The person who went second to last and last, they really got to control the game, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they were the ones who had the full view and were like, okay, if I push here, I can push this and
Yeah.
all that. So it definitely is a little rough, especially going first in that position. But I mean, I think it was a pretty strategically sound move. It made the most sense with what you
Oh.
got. Ultimately, Biggie ends up deciding between you and Shane, who will end up going with Peter and Rick. Did did you always assume that yeah, Biggie is probably going to pick Shane over you, or was there a
Yeah,
thought in
of
your mind?
course, of course. I once I found out that Biggie was gonna get to save someone, I mean, of course he was gonna choose Shane. But when Biggie placed his daggers, it wasn't evident to any of us that he would be able to save someone. So the fact that he placed a dagger on Shane is very shocking because he could have sent Shane home. So that was really crazy to see because in his 2 episodes ago, he saved Shane by telling what Max said about Salzburg to be loyal to Shane. But then this episode, you're going to stab Shane in the back. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me in terms of strategy again. But I mean, I'm not in Biggie's head, so
it it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, that's a decision you made, and now unfortunately you're in the Garden of Lost Souls, and
uh,
Shane is just going to be in a random plaza with Biggie, just waiting for you to hopefully come back.
waiting in the plaza.
So, with the Garden of Lost Souls, it goes pretty well. Everyone is getting tarot cards and flipping over hearts. And then Peter and Rick kind of drop the shoe of, we've been working together this whole time, and we're going to try and make sure that unfortunately you go out here. Did you have any inkling of Peter's that Rick is probably working with Peter and Janae, or was that kind of a complete shock in the moment?
No, yeah, I knew for episodes that Rick and Peter were working together. Shane knew as well, and so did Mac. It was a struggle to get Biggie to believe that Rick was working with Peter. So I think ultimately that was what really led us to go home, me to go home and Mac. But I feel like, I mean, it's great play on Rick's part, you know? So you can't even hate the guy, right?
I mean, it's a game of social strategy. If he has to make a good move to get an extra round when he may be the massive front runner, but what can you do?
Yeah, you can't. You really can't. I don't know. The whole thing was really shocking. I'm still processing it, I think. Whoa, because I had never seen who put their daggers where.
I oh wow. I had assumed that would have maybe been told to you beforehand, but like
I
no, it's
thought
just fully
maybe I'm surprised Biggie didn't tell me beforehand, but I mean, I'm not mad at him. I just like am a little surprised because like I've seen him a couple times.
maybe just one of the things that slipped his mind. You never know.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about it. There's no bad
Yeah.
blood. I love Biggie. He was trying to be successful in the game and win, so he did what he thought he had to do.
Well, getting to the end here, I know that you mentioned you do potentially want to do another show like this, get another chance to play the strategy. If so, which ones are you looking at?
I would love to do traders. I think it looks the most up my alley. I feel like social game is my strongest aspect. I feel like that's what got me so far in this game. I feel like I'm good at reading people. The only problem with traders is it has a long list of celebrities who probably want to go on it. And they bring on famous people from everywhere, Below Deck, Desperate Housewives. You've got basketball players' children, right? So, Zac Efron's brother. You've got a ton of people, but you never know. So maybe one of the producers loved my gameplay, and they want to give me a shot on traders. If not, I think one day I want to do Amazing Race with Mac. We live together and we get along really, really well. So I think that we would kill it. And then of course I would love to do Big Brother Survivor. You could put me on anything really, but yeah, my top is traders probably right now. Yeah.
The fact that like an Ally and Mac team on The Amazing, I need to see that immediately. I don't know who I can contact at CBS. Like, I'll start filling out petitions.
Somebody, I'm gonna call Josh. Hey, can you get me on Amazing Race? Tell your agent. Hey, but I gotta
Uh,
wait. I gotta wait till I'm done with NBC. NBC's gotta use me for something else first. Wink, wink, NBC.
Dealing Rodeo Island's right there, traders,
Right?
something.
I could kill some challenges in a bikini.
Well, we are getting to the end of our time. So, first off, Ali, thank you so much for doing
Thank
this.
you.
Where could people find you?
I'm at Ali Bros on Instagram, at Ali Bros on YouTube, and at Ali Bros XO on TikTok.
Well, thank you so much for doing this once again.
Thank you for
And
having me.
hopefully, we'll see you on another show at the very least, because
Hopefully.
I need to see this strategic brain somewhere and I want to see it fully running. So,
Hopefully I'll get a redemption, right?
yes, we need that so bad. But on that note, I am going to get out of here. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. And that was our interview with Allie Bross. If you like her, you can feel free to follow her at Allie Bross across Instagram and YouTube. And if you like us, you can feel free to subscribe below or follow us at any of our socials across almost all platforms. It is the Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. If you enjoyed this interview and maybe want to hear previous interviews, you can follow us here, subscribe, and check our previous videos. We have some lovely interviews, including one with Shane last week, where we get a little bit more insight on potentially how this endgame is going to go. We also have a drag channel, WWD and Eurovision, in our description below. And if that is all you need from me, you can also get your own very cup mug where you can, just get some nice tea while we're giving you the tea. That is at lanagcreations.etsy.com. But that is all I have for you. I am gonna go get out of here and, get out of Venice for once. So, until later. Feel free to check out our other exit interviews or maybe our coverage of Big Brother. Cheers!